Hi, welcome back. Thanks for joining me. If it's your first time here, thanks for taking the time to take a look. Today I'm going to continue talking about my Insta360 1R 360 camera. This video is really going to be about editing the 360 footage on a mobile phone, mobile device. This is an iPhone, but it could be an Android phone as well. And basically connecting the phone to the camera, viewing the video files that you've taken in 360, reframing them so that you get a more kind of two-dimensional view rather than the full 360 view. It's going to be a fairly brief glossary of editing, but enough to get you reframing really. So this video is about reframing from 360 video to a normal flat television or mobile phone view. So let's get into it. Right, so we've got the camera, we've got the phone, and what I'm going to do is actually do a screen grab of the phone screen so that you can see what's going on the phone. And we'll start by connecting them together and viewing the footage, and I'll tell you about reframing. Okay, so I've got the camera and the phone, and I'm just going to turn on the camera. And then launch the Insta360 phone app. There we go. Now it should automatically pop up like it has done there and ask you if you want to connect to the camera. So effectively the camera is a Wi-Fi hotspot, and the phone app will detect that and ask you if you want to join. So yes, I'll join that network, please. You can also click the connect to Wi-Fi and it should connect. There we go, connected, complete. So there we are. So the first thing we want to do is go and view the footage that you have recorded on the camera. We are connected over Wi-Fi, so connection might not be fantastic, but it's enough to view the video and download it from the camera memory card to your phone. So let's do that. So you get down the bottom, on the bottom menu there's a button called album. So if we hit that, okay, so you have three options along the top, one called all, one called local, one called camera. All will show you everything that is either on the camera or locally on the phone. So local means the phone, and camera obviously means camera. So you'll see there are three video files there that are in the all option. If we go to local, there's nothing, so that means that there's nothing on the phone. So if we go to camera, that's where those three files live currently. Now what you really want to do, unless you're going to do something very quickly, what I would do is download the files from the camera onto the phone. That means that you can then switch off the camera, save battery power, not have to worry about connection lag or anything like that. As you can see, my iPhone is running out of power as well, so I'm just going to plug the power in on that. But yeah, you can save some battery power and connection issues perhaps, because there's a little bit of lag if you're using it over Wi-Fi. Not only lag, but also you know, it might stop and start and stutter. So really, to edit nicely, you want to download the video off the camera onto the phone. So the one that I want is the video that we took in the last episode of this series, and I want to download that one onto the camera. So I want to download that one onto the phone. So there you go, that's that video. And let's go along on the menu bar at the bottom here. There's the last option is download. So I'm going to choose to download that. It says up the top it's been added to the download queue. So if I go back, and you'll see up the top bar there, it says downloading camera files, and it's 720 meg. So that shouldn't take too long to download. And you can also see a circular cursor on that middle file on the phone screen there at the moment. So let's just wait for that to download. And while that's happening, I'm going to plug in the power supply of my iPhone. Let's just put the power in there. Okay, we are almost there. Now obviously the bigger files you have, the longer it will take to download. And this is one limitation in my workflow. If you see there at the top, the first video is actually 60 minutes long, and that's just massive really, and that's going to eat up all the storage in my phone just to download that into the phone. So really, mobile phone editing is a lot better for shorter videos, or if you've got an awful lot of spare storage in your phone, you could perhaps do that. But it's fiddly, in my humble opinion, it's very fiddly to edit on your phone anyway, and I prefer to do it on a desktop computer. So what I do is take the memory card out of the camera, put it in a card reader on my computer, transfer the files over, and use the desktop application, which I will show you later. Anyway, now that we have the file on the phone, we can just check that it's definitely there by going to the local tab, and there it is. It's 1 minute long, so it's a nice short video. And also now we are able to power off the camera, so I'll do that. Save some battery power. And now we will be working solely on the phone. So let's take a look at that video by clicking on the thumbnail. Recording, and you know, you move the camera around, you can reframe. So you should recognize that from the previous episode in this series. If you don't recognize that because you haven't seen that video, I recommend you go back and watch the first two videos, because they'll tell you all about this camera and pretty much why I got it, and leads towards this one. So you know, this is episode 3. Go back and watch episode 1 and 2. But anyway, we have this video, and you can click and drag along the bottom of the screen there on the timeline just to whiz through the video and see what's going on. Now what I'm going to do to edit this video is pretty straightforward, but it's all that I really want to do with my videos. All that I do is mostly skate around bowls, and so all I'm planning to do is change the view, the camera angle. The beauty of this camera, and as I explained in the previous videos, is that you just plant the camera down somewhere, and the camera is kind of an all-seeing eye. It will film everything in a 360 space. So if we look at this video right now, as I showed you in the last video, I can click and drag with my finger and view anything in the 360 space. It's captured everything around the camera. So that means I didn't need to point the camera in any particular direction to capture everything. And the beauty of the editing now is that I get to choose what we look at. And that is called reframing. Effectively, with reframing, what you're doing is you're choosing your camera angle. You are being the camera operator, changing the angle after you've recorded the video. So retrospectively pointing the camera in the direction that you want at any given time, which is perfect for people like me that are kind of a one-man setup where I film myself skateboarding, but I skate round and round in bowls. I haven't got a wide enough lens to sort of point it at everything. And so a 360 camera is great because I can capture everything and then reframe later, pointing it at me, or basically have it follow me around the bowl. I'm not going to edit a skateboarding video today, but I will edit this video under the same concept. So as you'll see with this video, I am moving the selfie stick around, and you know, the camera is kind of going around like this, and at some point I might have it right over here, and so I'll be almost out of shot, and at another point I might be right over here, almost out of shot. And what I'm going to do in this example of reframing is just to try and keep myself center frame the whole time. And that might be a good example of perhaps how I'm skating around a skate bowl or pool, and I want to keep myself centered in the frame the whole time. That would otherwise be pretty difficult with a normal camera, where you know, you'd have to have multiple cameras pointing in all directions to capture yourself, and then you'd have to edit those shots together to make it look fluid and one single move. Or you'd have to have somebody filming you and then moving the camera around following you. So really it is a retrospective follow cam. And that's what we're going to do now with this example of how to reframe. So in general, I mean, if I start with the picture and me centered up on the frame pretty well, let's watch the video back and just see how I move the stick around a bit and end up kind of pushing myself out of frame a little bit. Recording, and you know, you move the camera around, you can reframe and see what's going on, but you're looking at me and my camera. I'll put my power supply and just hold it out like that, and here I am in my house, selfie stick on the 360 camera. And then what I'll do is I'll use this video here. So you can see it's at various points, you know, perhaps I'm a bit low in the frame like that, or I'm a bit too far over. So what we'll do is we'll keep me centered the whole time in the edit. And not only can you pan around, you can also zoom in and out as well. So, you know, if we say, for example, I want to keep myself quite centered in the frame like that, and we'll try and keep the zoom that sort of level and pointed in that kind of vein most of the time. Okay, so what we need to do to start with, to begin editing, we need to create keyframes on the timeline. If you're used to doing video editing already, you'll know what keyframes are. If you don't know what keyframes are, essentially they are edit points. So they're a point in the timeline where you choose that you want to make a change or an edit, whether that be a cut or a transition between two different shots. In this instance, the keyframes will be a change, so maybe a pan point or a zoom point. So what we will do is center me in the shot to begin with and create a keyframe by hitting that yellow dot that's in the center there. So see that yellow dot on the timeline? There's a little cross on it, a vertical cross. Hit that. The vertical horizontal cross changes to a diagonal cross, and that effectively is a keyframe. Now if we move the timeline along a little bit, you'll see that what that actually created was a little yellow circle with a smaller white circle in the middle. That is the keyframe. So any changes that you want to make, you need to be made with the playhead actually on that keyframe. So when you created a keyframe, you get a lot of options come up here. We'll talk about those a little bit later. But essentially all I'm going to show you here is reframing. So we created that keyframe. You'll see on the main display that there's a yellow dot appeared. That yellow dot shows you what the keyframe is pointing at, or at least the orientation of the shot. That yellow dot is central to the shot. Now what I want is my face central to the shot. So what I'll do is drag the picture, and you'll see when I'm dragging around there's a little white cross that gets created. Now I'm going to drag the picture over so that the white cross is on my nose, and then I will hit the update keyframe button, and that has moved the keyframe, the yellow dot, onto my nose. So now we know that my nose is center frame. I could also zoom in if I want to, and that will be part of the keyframe. Now let's move along the timeline to the point where we're kind of out of frame. So let's move that along, and you see it starts to shift out of frame a little bit, and then it comes back again, goes backwards and forwards a few times. I'm not so fussed about that, but I mean I can do it. Let's edit that just to show you. So let's go, we go out of frame there. Now we need to find the point that's like the most extreme out of frame. So both those points, it's kind of about there. So once we get to that point, hit the yellow cross again, create another keyframe, drag the picture so that the white cross goes on my nose again, hit the update keyframe, and there we go, the yellow dot has moved to my nose, so we know that the my nose is center frame. Move along a bit further in the timeline, and look, we go extreme over to the left. So let's find that center point, which is about there. Again, hit the yellow cross to create a keyframe. Drag the image so that my nose goes back to center frame, perhaps there, and then hit update keyframe. Let's go along the timeline a bit further. There we go, we kind of blurred and whizzed out of frame a bit there. So again, let's hit the create a keyframe, drag myself over to the white cross, update keyframe. There we go, let's go for another one perhaps, let's keep going. Yep, that's another point where it's gone right out. So is that the extremity of there? Yeah, I think it is. So there we go. Let's add another keyframe. Drag my nose to the white cross. Update keyframe. Let's go a bit further. Staying pretty central. Oh, it does a quick, there we go. Goes kind of backwards and forwards there. So let's just say there. Add another keyframe. Drag myself to the center. Oh, that's a problem in itself, is that play and stop is just tapping the screen as well. So sometimes you accidentally do that. But let's just find where we got to. So that was that keyframe there. Just put myself there, update keyframe, go a bit further, and goes out to another extreme about here. Another keyframe, drag my nose back to the center, update keyframe. Let's go on a bit further, go right over the other side again, another keyframe, update keyframe. Drag on a bit further, kind of ducked down a bit here. Oh yeah, we go quite far down. Let's add another keyframe and update keyframe. Gone a bit further. I pull the camera out a bit there, which is fine. At this point though, I'm a bit too far over and I go out of shot. So let's add another keyframe and drag myself back in shot. Put it on my nose again. Update keyframe. Let's just go back and see how that ended up. I mean, yeah, it does go a little bit out of it, but that's not bad. That's not bad. It's all at arm's length. This point, it goes way out and back again. So I think that point in the video, I'm talking about this bit of fluff that you can see in the screen. That bit of fluff is a microphone dead cat, what they call a dead cat. It's a little bit of fluff that goes over the microphone and stops wind noise. But we don't want to be looking at that, we want to look at me. So I'm going to add another keyframe and drag that back to my nose. Update keyframe. Okay, so now you can see that that stays looking at me. Let's go a bit further. We've gone right out of shot over here. So that's probably about right. Add another keyframe. Get my nose back into center shot. Update keyframe. Let's go on a bit further. We go over the far side again. Let's add another keyframe. Get my nose back on center. Update keyframe. Let's go some more. Go right over the left side there. So let's add another keyframe. Center me up there. Update keyframe. Let's go on a bit further. And I think that's pretty good. That'll do for now. So let's go back to the beginning. Now all of those keyframes have been placed, and what the app generally does is try to create a smooth move between the keyframes, and it does a fairly good job of that. So you'll see that it should look fairly seamless, but let's play back and see what it looks like. Recording, and you know, you move the camera around, you can reframe and see what's going on, but you're looking at me and my camera. I'll put my power supply and just hold it out like that, and here I am in my house, selfie stick on the 360 camera. And then what I'll do is I'll use this video. There you go, that's not bad. That's pretty good compared to how it was, you know, and generally kept center of frame. Now you've seen that, and that's reframed, and as I said, you can perhaps add zooms and zoom ins and out. So let's zoom that one right out. Now to edit a keyframe, all you need to do is place the cursor back over the keyframe that you want to edit. So that one I've zoomed right out. Perhaps let's go to the one before it and let's zoom right in, just so that you can see the difference. So let's go back there and hit play. There we go, zoom right in and zoom right out.
What I'll do is I'll use this video.
So you can add zooms as well as pans to those keyframes. This is finished as far as I'm concerned, and if we're happy with it and we want to export the video, up on the top right hand corner there's a little square with an arrow in one corner. If you hit that, you can hit export reframed video, and that will export the video as a flat finished 16:9 video. Or you can export it as a 360 video and ignore all the reframing we've just done, you know, just upload it in 360. And both Facebook and YouTube will accept a 360 video so that the viewer can view in 360. And you can see some of my 360 videos on my channel if you want an example. But yeah, so that's exporting when you're finished. You can obviously also trim the video using the scissor tool there. You can actually change the aspect ratio as well. So this is 16:9 for like a normal YouTube video. You can change it to 9:16 for a vertical video, or you can change it to 1:1 for a Instagram video, or 235:100 for an ultra wide video. So there's some options there, but generally I'm a 16:9 kind of person. There's lots of other things you can do, but I just don't get involved in that. It's out of my range of interest because I'm a desktop editor. But yeah, we've centered the video up, and you know, I'm going to go back and remove all these keyframes now and just play back the video again and just show you that it wasn't as well centered originally, just in case you've forgotten by now, because I've been talking a lot. To remove a keyframe, you just hover over it with the timeline and you'll see the diagonal cross there, and if you just hit on that, it turns into a vertical horizontal cross, and that means it's been deleted. So let's go back. Just get rid of all these and I'll play it back again. So there we go, let's play.
And you know, you move the camera around, you can reframe and see what's going on, but you're looking at me and my camera. I'll put my power supply and just hold it out like that, and here I am in my house.
See, we've got that windbreak in shot, that dead cat,
and then what I'll do is I'll use
which isn't really what we want to see. You see that movement there, and I'd framed out the dead cat. So you know, this extreme movement of the selfie stick that we see here,
apply and just hold it out like that, and here
like this. You know, it was a better job of reframing, if you ask me. So you know, it goes to show the reframing works. There is another option which will work for this video, but doesn't work very well for my skateboarding, which is called deep track. And I'll show you that right now. Essentially, all you need to do is create one keyframe at the beginning of the video. So let's do that. And then you get an option called deep track. So let's hit that. And it says drag to pick a subject. And all you want to do is drag a box over your face and then hit start tracking. And it will automatically follow your face and basically negate the need to do all those manual keyframes that I created. So this will create the same kind of video that I just did, but it's all automatic, as you can see. Very quick and works very well. Now the reason I didn't tell you about this first off was because it doesn't work very well for my skateboarding. It seems to prefer faces and at the kind of distance that this video is. So for selfie, talking to camera type things, it's great. For my skateboarding, it just doesn't seem to hold on to the tracking and it loses me very quickly. So, I mean, if you're close enough to the camera, it'll work. If you're not very close to the camera, it won't. And it tended to, you know, if I skated past somebody else, it tended to lock onto the other person instead of stay on me and all sorts. But, you know, your mileage may vary. It might work better for you. But for me right now, it doesn't work very well. But as you can see for this kind of video, it's working great. Anyway, I'm going to stop that tracking there and, you know, just show you what it's achieved. Let's go back to the beginning. You'll see that the timeline is all lit up yellow after a deep track. Now, there's one shortfall of the deep track is that you can't make any manual edits yourself after you've done a deep track. So I can't create any keyframes now. It's just not possible. So you either do deep track or you do it manually. You can't do a mix of both, but the deep track works pretty well. Let's just have a look.
And you know, you move the camera around, you can reframe and see what's going on, but you're looking at me and my camera.
You know, even after a deep track, I would want to zoom in a bit and get rid of that dead cat that's in the left of the screen there, but I can't because it won't let you. Maybe they'll update the software to allow you to do both at some point, but currently not.
Demonstrate the editing of something like this, and also I'll show you.
So there you go, that's really a quick fly through on the editing, and as I said, there are other options. So you know, there's a face filter there you can use to improve the imagery of your face. You know, perhaps I should use that to improve the look of my face, but you never know. You can add statistics, so you can get a GPS unit that can do a GPS overlay on the screen. So if you're like a downhill mountain biker or something, it can show like a map and GPS location, as well as I think speed, telemetry type data. I'm not really interested in that either. You can add music from their own music library. You can do speed ramping, so you can, like you could do with a camera phone, you know, you can be going along on your skateboard fast, perhaps pop an ollie over something and speed ramp into slow motion, and then ramp back out into normal motion speed again. You can take a still from a video with a snapshot. There's filters and video adjustments, like, you know, brightness and contrast and those kind of things. So it has all the functionality of a basic editor, and obviously you can trim start and ends of clips and join clips together. So, you know, it does what it needs to do for the basic fundamentals, but I don't really use it. I use the desktop app, and I will show you that next.